The fluorescent lights flickered in the quiet convenience store, casting a sterile glow over the cluttered aisles. Jamal, a clerk with a warm smile and tired eyes, restocked shelves with practiced ease. Suddenly, the store owner, Ms. Hargrove, stormed in, her voice sharp as a blade. "You're too slow, boy," she spat, her words laced with venom. The customers froze, eyes darting. Humiliation burned in Jamal's chest, but a steady gaze at a secret. One text message, one truth buried in his phone, could shatter her empire. What could a lowly clerk know to bring her down? Jamal had worked at Hargrove's corner store for 3 years, his hand steady as he rang up customers, stocked shelves, and swept floors. The store, a cramped but bustling hub in a small town, smelled of stale coffee and cardboard. Jamal, in his late 30s, carried himself with quiet pride, his deep brown eyes reflecting resilience forged through years of subtle slights. Raised in a neighborhood where opportunity was scarce, he'd learned to keep his head down, his work ethic his shield. Yet Ms. Hargrove, the store's owner, never missed a chance to demean him. Her sharp features and cold demeanor commanded the space, her wealth built on this store and several others. She'd inherited the business from her father, a man known for fairness, but she ruled with iron grip, her prejudice thinly veiled. To her, Jamal was invisible, another lazy worker to berate. Customers, mostly locals, noticed her snide comments but said nothing, their silence a tacit agreement. Jamal absorbed it all, his jaw tight, his heart heavy with the weight of her words. But he wasn't just a clerk. In his pocket, his phone held a secret, a single message he'd stumbled upon months ago while cleaning the back office. It was a thread, carelessly left open on Ms. Hargrove's computer, revealing something she'd buried deep. Jamal hadn't acted on it. Not yet. Each day, he arrived early, his apron crisp, his movements deliberate, as if waiting for the right moment. The store's rhythm continued. Beeping scanners, rustling bags, but tension simmered beneath. Something was coming, a reckoning no one expected, least of all Ms. Hargrove. What could one text message unleash to unravel her carefully built world? The days grew heavier at Hargrove's corner store. Ms. Hargrove's barb sharpened, each one a calculated cut. "Can't you do anything right?" She'd hiss when Jamal miscounted change, though her own math was often off. Her pale eyes gleamed with disdain, especially when customers weren't around. Jamal felt the sting, his pulse quickening, but he kept his composure, his hands steady as he bagged groceries. The store's fluorescent hum became a backdrop to his silent resolve. Regulars noticed attention. Old Mrs. Carter lingered longer to register, her kind glances a small comfort, while others avoided Jamal's eyes, complicit in their silence. Jamal's life outside the store was modest. He lived in a small apartment, its walls adorned with photos of his daughter, Aisha, a bright 10-year-old with dreams of college. He worked for her, enduring Ms. Hargrove's cruelty to keep her in school. But the secret in his phone gnawed at him. Late one night, while cleaning the office, he'd seen Ms. Hargrove's email open, a chain of messages between her and a supplier. The words were damning. Price fixing, undercutting local businesses, and skimming profits to dodge taxes. Jamal had snapped a photo, the text thread a ticking bomb. He hadn't planned to use it, but each insult pushed him closer. Ms. Hargrove's behavior escalated. One evening, as Jamal mopped, she berated him in front of a crowd, her voice loud enough to echo. "You're lucky I keep you here," she sneered, pointing at a non-existent smudge. Customers shifted uncomfortably, but none spoke. Jamal's chest tightened, the weight of years of slights, racial, personal, relentless, pressing down. He thought of Aisha, of the better life he wanted for her. The phone in his pocket fell heavier, its screen a gateway to justice. He began noticing patterns. Ms. Hargrove's late-night meetings with a man in a sleek car, her hushed phone calls, the way she locked the office door. The store's books didn't add up, deliveries short, cash drawers light. Jamal's suspicion grew. The text wasn't just a fluke. It was evidence of a larger scheme. He started documenting, quietly snapping photos of invoices, noting discrepancies. Each night, he lay awake, wrestling with fear and fury. Acting could cost him his job, his stability. But silence meant complicity in her corruption and her prejudice. One morning, Ms. Hargrove crossed a line. As Jamal restocked shelves, she tossed a crumpled receipt at him, muttering a racial slur under her breath. The word hit like a slap, raw and deliberate. A customer gasped, but Ms. Hargrove didn't flinch. Jamal's hands shook, but his eyes burned with clarity. The time for waiting was over. The text message, that single thread, was his weapon. But to whom would he send it? And how would it bring her empire crashing down? The store was quiet, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows through the grimy windows. Jamal stood behind the counter, his heart pounding like a drum. Ms. Hargrove was in her office, her voice sharp as she barked orders over phone. Jamal's fingers hovered over his phone. The text message thread opened, its incriminating words glowing on the screen. He'd decided. The message would go to Mr. Thompson, a local journalist known for exposing corruption. Jamal's thumb trembled as he typed a brief note, attached the photo, and hit send. The whoosh of the message felt like a release, a spark igniting a long simmering fire. Minutes later, Ms. Hargrove emerged, oblivious, her heels clicking as she inspected the store. She snapped at Jamal for a crooked display, her voice dripping with the usual contempt. But his calm unnerved her. His eyes held a quiet defiance she couldn't place. The air crackled with unspoken tension. Jamal's phone buzzed, a reply from Thompson. "This is big. I'm on it." His pulse surged, fear and hope colliding. By evening, the story broke. Thompson's article hit online, detailing Ms. Hargrove's price-fixing scheme, backed by Jamal's evidence. Customers whispered, their phones buzzing with notifications. Ms. Hargrove, checking her email, froze, her face paling as she read the exposé. She stormed to the counter, her voice a hiss. "What did you do?" she demanded. But Jamal only met her gaze, silent, unyielding. The store's door chimed as the supplier entered, his expression grim. He'd seen the article. Others followed, their trust in Hargrove shattered. The weight of her actions crashed down. Her empire, built on deceit and prejudice, unraveled in hours. She retreated to her office, the door slamming, but there was no escape. Jamal stood tall, the clerk she dismissed now the catalyst of her downfall. The store, once her kingdom, felt hollow, its shelves a testament to her greed. One text had turned the tables, exposing her to the world. But what would it cost Jamal, and would justice truly prevail? The fallout was swift. By morning, Hargrove's corner store was a ghost town. Customers boycotted, suppliers cut ties, and the local news ran Thompson's story on repeat. Ms. Hargrove was fired by her own board. Her other stores shuttered as investigations deepened. The town buzzed with shock, but also shame. Many had ignored her prejudice for years. Jamal, now jobless, felt a strange mix of relief and uncertainty. His apartment was quiet. Aisha's laughter his only anchor. He'd acted for her, to show her justice was possible, even when the world felt stacked against him. The community rallied. Mrs. Carter organized a fundraiser for Jamal, locals praising his courage. A rival store owner offered him a job, impressed by his integrity. Jamal accepted, his head high, though the scars of Ms. Hargrove's words lingered. The text message, a single act of defiance, had sparked a reckoning, exposing not just corruption but the cost of silent complicity. The town began to confront its own biases, conversations stirring in homes and churches. Jamal sat with Aisha one evening, her eyes bright as she talked about her dreams. He realized his act wasn't just for her future, but for everyone who'd been dismissed, demeaned, or dehumanized. The store, now under new management, became a symbol of change, its shelves restocked with hope. Jamal's story spread online, inspiring others to speak out. He wasn't a hero, just a man who refused to stay invisible. What does it take to stand against injustice when the odds are against you? Jamal's one text message proved that truth, however small, can topple empires. His quiet strength challenged the town to look inward, to question who they protect and why. The fight against racism isn't won in a single act, but in the courage to act at all. Will you be the one to send that message, to spark the change that's long overdue?